My name is Trey Sell, and have you ever thought about how climate change affects our world? There are many sources such as NASA, the United Nations, and the NOAA that say climate change is on the rise, and this could lead to droughts, food insecurity, and flooding along coastlines. Deforestation, the manufacture of goods, and the creation of energy in power plants create carbon, which causes irreversible damage to our environment. We need to do everything in our power to stop climate change before it gets too bad. And today, I'll explain some of the ways to help with that. Climate change is harmful to our lives and the longevity of our world. Many areas in the western United States are faced with drought more often because of rising temperatures. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, farmers require more water in warmer weather, thus worsening the effects of droughts. Deserts are expanding, reducing land for growing food. And droughts can also stir destructive sand and dust storms that can move billions of tons of sand across continents. NASA says the temperature could rise by as much as 8 degrees Fahrenheit by the year 2100. Destructive storms have become more intense and frequent in many regions. As temperatures rise, moisture evaporates, which further increases extreme rainfall and flooding, causing destructive storms. The warming ocean also affects the frequency and extent of tropical storms, cyclones, hurricanes, typhoons, and typhoons, which feed on warm waters at the ocean surface. Such storms often destroy homes and communities, causing death and huge economic losses. According to the NOAA, there are also many problems concerning the quality of water in the ocean. Ocean acidification is a large problem, and as the ocean absorbs about 30% of carbon from the atmosphere, the increased carbon levels leave the water more acidic. The increased temperatures are also starting to melt the Arctic ice caps, which will cause the ocean to rise and therefore cause flooding. There are many reasons for climate change, and many of them are caused by us. According to the UN, one of the many causes of climate change is the manufacture of goods. The burning of fossil fuels during the manufacturing of goods, as well as the fumes and smoke from the steelmaking process, are large contributors to climate change. Cutting down forests to create farms or pastures, or for other reasons, causes emissions, since trees, when they are cut, release carbon that they have been storing in their trunks. Each year, over 45,000 miles of forests are destroyed. Another cause for climate change is consuming too much. Buying a lot of food and then letting it spoil is not only a disrespect to the farmers that grew it, but the greenhouse gases that rotting food produce further impact our climate. In America alone, an estimated 11.3 million tons of textile waste are created every year, equivalent to 85% of all textiles, and they end up in landfills every year. That's equivalent to approximately 81.5 pounds per person per year, and around 2,150 pieces per second countrywide. Climate change cannot be reversed, but it can be slowed down if we all do our part. One thing that everyone can do to help prevent climate change is advocating for net zero carbon footprint policies. According to the UN website, as of June 2024, 107 countries, responsible for approximately 82% of global greenhouse gas emissions, had adopted net zero pledges, either in law, in a policy document such as a National Climate Action Plan, or in a long-term strategy, or in an announcement by a high-level government official. While our everyday lives will never have as much of a carbon footprint as large companies, there are still things we can do to reduce our carbon emissions. Driving an electric car to work or riding a bike will greatly reduce our carbon emissions, as most of the average person's emissions come from gasoline or diesel engines. Using less hot water in the shower, trying not to waste food, and only using your heater when necessary are all great ways to save power and reduce carbon emissions. Installing solar panels on your roof is another great way to save power, while also saving yourself money, as solar panels pay themselves off quickly. Along with solar panels, installing energy-efficient appliances such as LED light bulbs, smart thermostats, and motion-sensitive lighting are good ways to save energy. In conclusion, climate change is harmful to our environment. It is caused by carbon emissions and can lead to serious issues regarding the welfare of society. Remember to do your part and help lower carbon emissions, whether that be taking shorter showers or buying a Tesla as your next vehicle. And always advocate for zero emission policies. Thank you for coming.